This is the Indianapolis Prize, the world's leading award for animal conservation. Now, please welcome Project Trio.
Yeah.
Please welcome the President and CEO of the Indianapolis Zoological Society, Dr. Rob Shoemaker.
Good evening, everyone. And on behalf of the Indianapolis Prize Committee and all of us at the Indianapolis Zoological Society, welcome. Thank you for being here. And thanks to all of you that are watching via simulcast. Wherever you're joining us, we think you're going to be inspired as we honor and celebrate these heroes of wildlife conservation. This celebration could not have happened without the support of a number of generous sponsors, including our presenting sponsor, Cummins, and our supporting partners, the Heritage Group, Kobe Foundation, WTHR, Polly Hicks, PNC Bank, and the Lilly Endowment. Would you please join me in a round of applause for all of these individuals and organizations? Thank you. Thank you. We're also thrilled tonight to welcome a number of distinguished guests, including the Honorable Mark Stanley, United States of America Ambassador to the Argentine Republic. Thank you. And the 51st Governor of the state of Indiana, the Honorable Eric Holcomb. Ambassador Stanley is joining us tonight to award the Indianapolis Prize to Dr. Pablo Borboroglu, a citizen of Argentina and an internationally renowned expert on penguin ecology and land and sea conservation. Our honorees come from all over the world, including 3 from Spanish-speaking countries. Esta noche es un honor especial presentar nuestros 2 principales premios a científicos latinoamericanos. Thanks. This is a vivid illustration of the prize's global reach and of the pioneering efforts of conservationists around the world to protect our planet for future generations of animals and people alike. Now, I'd like to clear up a little misconception. The Indianapolis Prize is sometimes referred to as a Lifetime Achievement Award. It is emphatically not a Lifetime Achievement Award because no prize winner or prize finalist sees the prize as the culmination of their efforts. They're all working conservationists, actively contributing in the field to save wildlife and wild places. The Indianapolis Prize is awarded to conservationists who've made a significant impact on saving an animal species, and although it's not a Lifetime Achievement Award, every one of our winners has made a lifetime commitment to their work. Because that's what it takes. Give them a hand, absolutely. That's what it takes to change the world. A genuine commitment. And these heroes of animal conservation, whom we are thrilled and humbled to be honoring tonight, are doing nothing less.
It all began with an ambitious purpose. A purpose driven by passion, dedication, and a desire to answer what is perhaps the most important question of our time. What can we do to save endangered animal species on a global scale? The answer? To awaken the world to the efforts of its most accomplished animal conservationists. The people working in all parts of our planet to save wild things in wild places. So, in 2004, the Indianapolis Prize was established as the world's leading award for animal conservation, created to honor conservation heroes with a prize worthy of their efforts, as well as a platform from which to promote their cause. What began as a dream is now a dynamic force in the fight to save animal species everywhere. These change makers show us that with passion, science, and cooperation, we can safeguard biodiversity and build a sustainable future for all. Their work reminds us that we all have a role to play in healing our planet, and there is still time to act if we summon the will. The Indianapolis Prize has grown to become a movement, an expanding network of conservation heroes, scientists, and wildlife ambassadors who teach us that true conservation is not just about saving animal species, it's about instilling humanity with empathy, curiosity, and a sense of wonder for the living planet we all call home. These are the people making a difference. They will not accept that we are powerless. They are working to provide us with choices so we may define our own future. This is our moment. This is where we come together and learn what we can do to save wild things and wild places.
This is the Indianapolis Prize.
Please stand and welcome the finalist for the 2023 Indianapolis Prize. Dr. Christoph Bosch. Dr. Gerardo Ceballos. Dr. Karen Eckert. Dr. Birute Mary Galdikas. Dr. Gladys Kalima Zikasoka. And the 2023 winner of the Indianapolis Prize, Dr. Pablo Garcia Borboroglu. 2023 Indianapolis Prize honorees. Now, please welcome our host for the evening, Chief Environmental Affairs Correspondent for NBC, Ann Thompson, and co-founder of Big Blue and You, Danny Washington.
Good evening. It is such an honor to be back home in Indiana again, hosting the Indianapolis Prize Gala. And I must say, you all dress up marvelously. I've told people it is my favorite night of the year, and then I remember that the prize is awarded every 2 years. I was an arts and letters major, so, you know. But at any rate, every 2 years, I think it makes it even more special. And it's so wonderful not only to meet the finalists and this year's winner, but all the winners from the past years who have come to join us tonight. As anyone who works in the world of animal biology or environmental science knows, the Indianapolis Prize is the world's most prestigious award for wildlife conservation. Emphasis, as Dr. Robb said, on world. Our winners and finalists tonight are natives of 4 continents whose work has a global impact in all 7 continents and 7 seas. And speaking of someone who has been especially involved in studying and advocating for those seas, and she has a degree in marine science and biology. She has also founded the Sea Youth Rise Up initiative to help young people stand up for ocean conservation. And she's the co-founder of Big Blue and You, dedicated to educating youth about ocean conservation through arts, science, and media. There is no one I'd rather share the stage with tonight than my co-host, Danny Washington. Danny.
Oh my goodness. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Anne. I totally agree, and I'm so thrilled to be back here again at the Indianapolis Prize Gala. And I mean, how often in life do you get to meet your real life heroes? Tonight, so many of them are here. And you know, as you mentioned, Anne, well, the greatest part of what I do is connecting with young people and sharing stories about the need to protect our wild world, particularly our ocean. And that connection, that passion for inspiring others is what our next guest is very much all about. She's been involved with the Indianapolis Prize from the very beginning, and she is one of the world's most articulate and dedicated voices for protecting endangered species. So much so that the Indianapolis Prize made her the first winner of the award named for her. She's an award-winning actress and a tireless conservationist. She's one of my heroes, and I'll bet she's one of yours. Please join me in welcoming the one and only Jane Alexander.
Oh, thank you, Danny and Ann. Well, how about this, right? It's hard to believe that 17 years, an entire generation, has passed since the very first Indianapolis Prize was awarded. And I've loved every minute of every gala since the beginning, as a number of you here have, I'm sure. This is better than the Oscars. No, I'm telling you. It is, truly. Here we celebrate great men and women and the animals they know so well. And you wonderful people of Indianapolis make it all possible. Really, this is uniquely beautiful gala, the support of conservationists near and far, and the warm welcome into your lives and your city. I love it. Thank you. Thank you for everything. You and the visionary leadership of the zoo have changed everything, and I thank you for that. Thank you. It's amazing to see how much we've accomplished together, really, knowing all the while that we have a long way to go, right? Our conservation heroes are why we are here, but we also need others who can lead people to action, who can be powerful, credible voices for wild things and wild places. People like Sigourney Weaver and Harrison Ford and Prince Albert of Monaco. I am really deeply honored that the prize created the Jane Alexander Global Wildlife Ambassador Award in 2012 to honor them, and why I am so pleased to introduce to you this year's winner, Joel Sartori. Yeah. I know a number of you know that Joel is an award-winning wildlife photographer, author, and National Geographic's 2018 Explorer of the Year. Well, in 2006, he founded the National Geographic Photo Arc, a 25-year effort to document through images and video every animal species in every zoo and wildlife sanctuary in the world. Now, since then, he has photographed more than 15,000 animal species, creating portraits of hope to help raise awareness and spark action. You can see some of his work at the Global Center for Species Survival right here at the zoo, at the Indianapolis Zoo. And in your mailbox this year, to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the Endangered Species Act, the United States Postal Service's latest Forever stamps will feature images from the photo arc. Yeah. His work has inspired millions of people the world over, and it all began under some very challenging circumstances and a revelation that changed the course of Joel's career and his life.
Let's get our stuff out. You can carry that. Professionals are gonna see this truck and they're gonna say, oh my God, what a hack. Off we go. The majority of the animals we shoot have never been documented well. Some have never been photographed alive. And oh, there she is. The name of the game on all these shoots is fast. We have seconds. We don't have minutes. We have seconds. And so it's like,
sorry about the poop.
that's okay, that happens. You know, I've taken pictures since I was a kid. I worked for National Geographic. For their magazine, I did stories in the field. People, wildlife, you name it. All that globe-trotting stopped when my wife was diagnosed with breast cancer. And during the course of that year, I came to the Lincoln Children's Zoo and I asked if I could photograph animals on plain black and white backgrounds. And then I photographed, you know, everything at the zoo. Because I'm a type A guy, it's a problem. And then I thought, I wonder what it would take to do every animal in captivity around the world. I thought, you know, if Kathy gets better and I go back on the road, that's for me. And she's fine today. Grab that for me and move the tail slightly back. Atticus here, the Chinese water dragon, is sitting up, allowing me to get close. Couldn't be better. This is better than 99% of my shoots, actually. I just thought it'd be good to document these little animals and captivate people and get them to see in these animals what I see, which is they are works of art.
When you look into the eyes of many of the animals that he's photographed, it's better than a Rembrandt, okay? Because it's just, some of them just pull you in. And you go, this is a remarkable creature.
This is really our chance to connect with people. We tell a good story, and 220 million people or more see each post on Instagram. There's a real opportunity to move the needle in ways that we've never been able to before. So I think of this as the golden age of conservation.
global servant. He's a global inspiration. He's a global hero when it comes to preserving and wanting to protect wildlife.
I get inspired every time I go out to work. I have this responsibility. It's a big honor. It's a huge honor. I mean, there's no way I can stop. It is the story of life on Earth.
It is my great honor to welcome to the stage the 2023 Jane Alexander Global Wildlife Ambassador, Joel Sartori.
Hello, everyone. I'm deeply honored and thank the Indianapolis Prize for this honor this evening. First of all, I need to be clear that I'm but one part of this project. Our photo arc team, both in Nebraska and at National Geographic, deserves credit for helping me every step of the way, as does my family. All have suffered, and for years, just ask them. They'll give you an earful if you run into them tonight. It'll be cathartic for them, actually. The photo arc began more than 17 years ago as a way to showcase the smaller species, the ones that never have their voices heard. That everybody knows about tigers and gorillas. They get all the press. But what about the minnow that lives in muddy water? Or the sparrow high up in the tree, or the mole working through the soil? All are so important, yet we can never get a good look at them. With the photo arc, we've changed all that, which is a very good thing. Why would any of us feel compelled to save anything we've never seen? At its heart, then, the photo arc is a long-term ad campaign on behalf of Mother Nature, hoping desperately that others will be inspired to finally start doing something, anything, while there's still time. There are more than 15,000 species on board the ark now and counting. We photograph all creatures, rare or common, big or small. Using studio lighting, we bring out true colors, and the clean black and white backgrounds eliminate all distractions, allowing us to make direct eye contact, something we humans can't seem to get enough of, can we? Without any size comparison, all animals have an equal voice. The butterfly is every bit as large and important as an elephant. In these photographs, all are equal. Each species is a work of art, intelligent, homed over time, and has a basic right to exist, whether it's a mammal, a bird, a reptile, an amphibian, a fish, or even an invertebrate. Every one matters. But does it work? We see small victories here and there, but can we convince humanity to preserve enough intact habitat to save entire ecosystems and ourselves in the process? That's the question. Can this project actually lessen the impact of the extinction crisis? Only time will tell. But we never lose hope. Instead, we believe the world will eventually realize what's at stake and be moved to save it. And so we go on, bringing these myriad species into the light, one at a time, hoping the world will finally care. But tonight, we do care, most deeply. Every one of us in this room, my band of brothers and sisters, toiling away with furrowed brow, no end in sight, undaunted. We have no choice after all, so we give everything we can, our full measure of devotion, right this minute, as if there's no tomorrow. We just hope that future conservationists will be inspired forevermore. In the words of T.S. Eliot, for us, there is only the trying. The rest is not our business. Thank you, folks.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the brightness of day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
What makes the world a wonderful place is to be immersed in nature and seeing that a people and the wildlife are coexisting.
Life is a universal force, and it's not just for humans. Life should be cherished, no matter where it's found.
The main mission of my life is to save as many species of plants and animals from extinction.
We have to do everything we can to stop the assault against nature. We as individuals can do it.
The only way to improve things is to continue to fight.
You could be a conservation hero in any aspect of your life. We all have a role in conservation.
Everybody needs to get involved in making sure that they do their part. That's what makes the world a wonderful place.
The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, and
Please welcome back to the stage, Dr. Rob Shoemaker.
Thank you. I hope you've enjoyed your meals and each other's company. And could we have a round of applause for everyone who's worked so hard in the room tonight? Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Earlier this evening, I talked about the misconception that the Indianapolis Prize is a Lifetime Achievement Award. It's not. Our winners and finalists are working conservationists. Their ongoing efforts to save species from extinction deserve as much support as we can give them. That's a big reason why, as of this year, we've increased the award given to the Indianapolis Prize finalists from $10,000 to $50,000 each. That dramatic increase was made possible by a grant from the Lilly Endowment, and we thank them so much for their vision and generosity. Thank you. I also mentioned our new award this evening. A couple of years ago, we realized the need to go beyond honoring those who had already accomplished great things in animal conservation and recognize younger conservationists under age 40 who are poised to make major contributions in the future. With generous support from Kobe Foundation, our vision culminated in the creation of the Emerging Conservationist Award. And to tell us more, we've engaged a couple of people who know a little bit about the next generation of conservation.
Each living creature is a strand in the web of life, a link to the past and the future of every other living thing on Earth.
And when you devote your life to wildlife conservation, you see firsthand the hope that arrives with each new generation. Each new life is a gift and a promise that builds on the lessons of those who have come before and strengthens the fabric of the world we all share.
Our dad, Steve Irwin, along with our mum, Terry, gave us this life, a life devoted to wild things and wild places. Dad was a wildlife warrior, and he left some pretty big shoes to fill. In fact, we can't fill them alone.
Wildlife conservation has never been a one-person job. It's too big. Thankfully, there are like-minded colleagues around the world caring for wildlife, like those who have been honoured by the Indianapolis Prize.
These are the giants of the conservation world, the ones on whose shoulders future generations will stand.
And now, for the first time, the Indianapolis Prize's Emerging Conservationist Award recognises the work of an animal conservationist under the age of 40, poised to make a significant impact on wild things and wild places.
And so, the cycle continues from generation to generation.
It will take all of us working together, getting involved, taking action, and never giving up hope. The hope that we can change the world if we stay committed and connected.
Across the generations, on every continent, in every language, we are all connected.
The future is on all of our shoulders. The world we share is our responsibility. Together, we can make a difference for every generation to come.
This is our moment, and this is the Indianapolis Prize.
Welcome back, the 2021 Indianapolis Prize winner, Dr. Amanda Vincent.
Thank you all, and good evening. It's very exciting to be back in Indianapolis and to share the stage with so many friends and colleagues who are hugely effective in wildlife conservation. And I'm delighted to introduce you to the very first winner of the Emerging Conservationist Award. Our winner was chosen through a two-stage selection process. First, a review committee evaluated applications submitted by 76 qualified applicants from around the globe. Then 10 finalists were evaluated by a selection committee who, after much deliberation, decided to honor a truly remarkable champion of wildlife, Peruvian primatologist and anthropologist Fanny Cornejo. Fanny is the embodiment of a next-generation emerging conservation hero. In 2007, she and her mother, Fanny Fernandez, created Yuncawasi, an organization dedicated to the conservation of endangered species in Peru. Since her mother's death, Fanny has taken the organization to the next high level. The award recognizes Fanny's leadership in creating networks to safeguard the yellow-tailed woolly monkey, a species that lives only in the tropical forests of northern and central Peru. 80% of the monkey's habitat has been destroyed by human activity. Fanny is showing impressive determination and enterprise in leading the fight to save them from extinction. The Emerging Conservationist Award is a $50,000 prize that recognizes Fanny's many accomplishments and, more important, applauds the wonderful contributions we know she'll make in the years to come. She'll also receive a beautiful award titled Relations, Not Resources, designed by Margaret Jacobs, a member of the Akwesasne Mohawk tribe, who was previously artist-in-resident at the Idle York Museum. And Margaret is truly remarkable if you get a chance to talk to her. Fanny has a special affinity to the forest and an amazing ability to inspire others. On a personal note, I love knowing that we, Indianapolis Prize winners and finalists, well, all of us, can rely on younger conservationists as great as Fanny to do splendid work into the future. I know you'll be as impressed as I was to meet her. But first, here's a look at her work in the field.
Parece que son todos que están ahí juntitos, ¿no? Those are their contact calls. So that's one juvenile female, two little cuties. They're like on top of us.
I have always had like this close tie to nature. Both my parents were geologists, engineers, so I spent a lot of my childhood traveling through the different ecosystems of Peru.
From a young age, Fanny Cornejo has worked throughout the South American country of Peru to protect the country's vast ecosystem. In 2007, Fanny's mother, Fanny Fernandez Melo, founded the conservation organization Yuncawasi, meaning House of the Forest in the indigenous language of Quechua. Fanny worked alongside her mom, first dedicating herself to an endangered species found only in Peru, the yellow-tailed woolly monkey.
The yellow-tailed woolly monkey to Peru is what the giant panda is to China. And people wouldn't really realize that we had that species.
When I saw her, I thought, wow, this is exactly what we want in Peru, because we need young people to just mobilize to protect nature and especially get passionate about primates.
Cornejo and her mother built Yuncawasi from the ground up. After her mother's untimely passing in 2015, Fanny found herself at the helm of a growing conservation organization.
I focused a lot after her death into getting Yuncawasi to the next level.
Over here, we have a protected area that belongs to a campesino community.
We want to channel all of this energy and funding to be able to work in conservation education and research.
Cornejo and Yuncawasi partnered with the regional governments in the Amazonas to establish the yellow-tailed woolly monkey protection and conservation area. This 560,000-acre protected area safeguards critical habitat for the monkeys. Cornejo is a staunch advocate for endangered species in her home country, developing programs to raise awareness, such as a commemorative coin campaign, working directly with more than 20 communities across Peru, engaging them to monitor wildlife populations, generating much-needed income through ecotourism initiatives.
El impacto durante todos estos años que viene Fanny realizando el trabajo en nuestra comunidad es de un claro ejemplo ver en nuestras socias cómo ellas pueden elaborar sus propios trabajos y de esa manera pueden empoderarse y también independizarse, y sin Fanny todo esto no sería posible. Definitivamente es una persona que admiro y es un ejemplo que siempre yo lo voy a seguir.
La empatía, como decía hace un rato, la empatía y la energía conllevan a motivación. Yo creo que nuestro trabajo, la manera como Fanny nos lidera, hace que las personas piensen que algo les va a traer una solución, pero al mismo tiempo lo hacen con cariño.
You meet people that are as passionate as I am. You meet people that, are working really hard to get things to change. That keeps you going, and, there is hope. We can achieve things.
As I say, truly remarkable. Please welcome the winner of the 2023 Emerging Conservationist Award, Fanny Cornejo.
Wow, it's such an honor being here. So, esteemed guests, fellow conservationists, dear friends, I'm so excited. I would like to thank the Indianapolis Prize for this extraordinary honor. I am so grateful for the opportunity to use this platform of the Indianapolis Prize to further our conservation efforts in Peru. To be recognized as the inaugural winner of the Emerging Conservationist Award is also a testament of the unwavering dedication of Yuncawasi's team, of the work that we have done over the past 16 years. To my team and for our government and community allies, this honor that I'm getting right now is also a reflection of the commitment and passion that you all have. Your dedication is a force of nature, and we possess the power to change the world. And I am incredibly proud to be able to lead all of our efforts. I also extend my congratulations to all the Indianapolis Prize winners and finalists. Your exemplary work has consistently inspired conservationists worldwide, myself included. In particular, my deepest gratitude to Rasmir Meyer and Pat Wright for the support and guidance over the years. To my late mother, Fanny Fernandez, Yuncawasi's founder, she gave me the opportunity to pursue my dreams, and her memory will forever guide our work. All of this wouldn't have been possible without her, and without the unfailing love and understanding of all my family and friends, some of whom are already here, some that are watching us through the internet. I want to dedicate this award to Peru and to all Peruvians. The conservation of our biodiversity is a monumental challenge that we must confront together. So we all must stand up for the yellow-tailed woolly monkey of our rainforest. Thank you so much.
The late Crystal DeHaan was a local businesswoman, a global philanthropist, and a longtime supporter of the Indianapolis Prize. She was committed to making the world a better place. It's why she created Crystal House, which is an international network of schools dedicated to transforming the lives of students by breaking the cycle of poverty. It's also why she made a legacy gift that ensures the prize's continued support of conservation efforts worldwide. Now, earlier, Dr. Robb announced that the prize finalists will each be receiving awards of $50,000, an increase initially funded by the Eli Lilly Endowment. Going forward, the Crystal DeHaan Families Foundation gift will allow us to ensure the biennial $50,000 award in perpetuity to each of the 5 prize finalists. And as is so appropriate, from this day forward, those finalists will be known as the Indianapolis Prize DeHaan finalists. Let's have a big round of applause for this incredible act of philanthropy. And now it's time to meet again the Indianapolis Prize DeHaan finalists. And Danny Washington is going to get us started. Danny?
Thank you, Anne. Today, there are just over 1,000 mountain gorillas in the world, and just over half of them live in Uganda's windy Gahinga Conservation Area. The good news is their numbers have increased steadily in recent years, in large part due to the work of Dr. Gladys Kalema Zikusoka. Dr. Kalema Zikusoka is the founder of Conservation Through Public Health, an organization working to improve health and livelihoods in areas around Africa's protected areas in a way that helps people and wildlife coexist. She is a recognized world authority on gorillas and zoonotic diseases and was the first Wildlife Authority's first wildlife veterinarian. Dr. Kalema Zikusoka has worked tirelessly to protect mountain gorillas from diseases that could be devastating on their population. She's been honored by the United Nations as Champions of the Earth laureate, and we are deeply, deeply honored to have her here tonight.
I did not grow up in the forest. I was a city girl. I grew up in Kampala, the capital city of Uganda. Kalema is the name of my dad, my late father, who was a senior cabinet minister in the previous government. He was unfortunately one of the first victims who was abducted and murdered when President Idi Amin came into power. I was only 2 years old when he died, so I don't remember him. But I did know that he really cared about Uganda, and I wanted to continue his legacy as I developed a passion for wildlife.
From an early age, Dr. Gladys Kalema Zikusoka dreamed of being a veterinarian. After time spent studying abroad, she decided to start her career at home in Uganda. She immersed herself in the country's vast forest network, where a grim discovery of declining gorilla populations set her path.
When I saw that there were very few animals in the park, maybe there were about 300 gorillas, I thought, well, maybe I should be a vet who also works with wildlife. I didn't know how, but I was determined to do something about it and at least have a career that can help to bring the wildlife back.
Dr. Kalema Zikusoka decided to use her veterinary degree in a way never before seen in Uganda, becoming the Uganda Wildlife Authority's first veterinary officer. Gladys soon recognized that the biggest threat to gorilla populations were caused by local people who share the forest, poaching, deforestation, and the transmission of human diseases to the species. Kalema Zikusoka pioneered a new, holistic approach.
I think to myself, maybe I need to set up an NGO that focuses on these issues. we were able to launch conservation through public health by bringing together wildlife health, human public health, in order to achieve conservation. We're collecting fecal samples from their night nests, and we're trying to see whether they're healthy, whether they have any parasites, bacteria, or viruses.
When we started conservation through public health, health organizations and conservation organizations were working in silos. Now we're bringing them together to address issues around sustainable development goals, life on land.
She has been very, very astute in coming down to the level of local communities, understanding and appreciating their needs and problems. It is powerful. They identify with her easily and they tell you their challenges and you translate them into action.
That's how we started out, to keep the gorillas healthy from human diseases. I'm looking for parasite eggs. We held health education workshops with the local communities. We added family planning onto it. We don't force anything on someone. It's by telling them that it's a good thing to do, and then they set it up themselves in a simple way. We pay the owner of this farm a good price for good coffee. The farmers are happy and they know that it's about protecting the gorillas.
Thanks to Dr. Kgalema Zikusoka's efforts, the estimated population of mountain gorillas in windy, impenetrable forest has doubled over the past 25 years, from an estimated 300 gorillas in the late 90s to nearly 600 today. The success of her One Health approach has transformed windy, impenetrable forest from one of the poorest regions of Uganda into a thriving ecotourism hub, providing jobs for locals as guides and rangers, and generating revenue to fund community development.
Everybody wins. The animals win, the communities win. The impact is huge and has created increased population of gorillas.
When I think of her work in conservation, consistently for 20 years coming up with new solutions, balancing all that and very intelligent and using it for the good of the people.
She is a global conservation leader, and I think her next step will be expanding this model to other countries in and around protected areas in Africa.
I would say that my dad, I think, would be very proud because I've continued his legacy of making Uganda develop, and through my passion for wildlife, it's putting Uganda back on the map. When I'm out there in nature, I feel happy and joyful, and I feel refreshed and ready to continue to try and make a difference and make the world a better place.
Please join me in welcoming our first Indianapolis Prize Jahan finalist, Dr. Gladys Kgalema Zikusoka.
Dr. Gerardo Ceballos is no stranger to this stage. This is his fourth time as a finalist for the Indianapolis Prize. Dr. Ceballos is a professor at the Institute of Ecology at National Autonomous University of Mexico, where his groundbreaking work has established him as one of the world's leading experts in biodiversity. His conservation efforts have helped protect thousands of species and saved literally hundreds from extinction in Mexico, including bison, prairie dogs, and the Magdalena tree rat. Dr. Ceballos has also led the world's most ambitious jaguar research project and the creation of the National Alliance for Jaguar Conservation and the preservation of nearly 10,000 square miles of jaguar habitat. He's worked with the Mexican government to pass conservation legislation, and his books, lectures, and social media presence have been deeply influential in helping the public understand the magnitude of the threat posed by the loss of biodiversity.
Gerardo. Hola, Panchito. ¿Cómo estás? Qué gusto. El gusto es mío. We put these collars on the dogs so we can follow them. We track the jaguars with them. Mi querido Charlie, por favor, entiende que estás en televisión, sí, entonces tranquilo.
Camioneta fenomenal como siempre.
Muy bien. What I love most is to be outside. I really love to go to wild places to see mammals and birds in the wild. And those are the howler monkeys. Yeah. This drives basically my appetite to save these species and these habitats, and this keeps me going.
Gerardo is one of the most important conservationist scientists in the world. You are drawn to him and you are drawn to listening to him. He knows what he's talking about. You're going to have a good time. You're going to laugh a lot.
I will compare him with Jane Goodall, with David Attenborough. The thing about Gerardo is he can make a small thing bigger.
He's a field biologist. He's a mentor. He teaches students. He's a fantastic communicator. He's managed to protect huge areas of Mexico, which is a biodiversity hotspot. Gerardo is one of the people most responsible for keeping it a wonderful place for biodiversity.
Dr. Gerardo Ceballos has dedicated his life to protecting Mexico's richly diverse wild places. In 1991, he helped create the country's first Endangered Species Act, a landmark that protected over 4,000 species and 1.5% of the country's landmass. Working primarily in the Calakmul Biosphere Reserve, a World Heritage Site, Ceballos and his team have helped the jaguar population grow from 4,000 in 2010 to over 5,000 of the big cats in 2023. After being declared a reserve in 1989, Ceballos worked for the continued expansion of the land. As of 2023, Calakmul reached nearly 1.6 million hectares, making it the largest protected tropical area in Central America.
Oh, wow, that's great. This is one of our jaguars. The camera traps is one of our basic tools to develop conservation measures. We choose jaguar for several reasons. On the one hand, in Mexico, jaguar has been very important for the culture since prehistoric times. There is an estimate that we're saving more than 70,000 species of plant, animals, and microorganisms. If you protect jaguars, you protect the forest, and by doing that, we're saving the whole thing.
Countless species still face the prospect of extinction throughout Central and South America, where environmental change, large-scale agriculture, and development continue to threaten its rich biodiversity. Ceballos worked with Global Conservation to create the National Jaguar Conservation Alliance, which coordinates ecological, political, economic, and social entities toward the conservation of the jaguar and its habitat.
Studies on basic science become applied science on the one hand, but also, like this, become public policy.
He has helped to create several reserves, and that's a work that should last probably 100 years and will benefit thousands of people.
I respect the fact that he is a really brilliant scientist who's also a brilliant human being and a really nice guy.
The ultimate goal for all of us is to protect all ecosystems still left in the planet. I'm still hopeful because there is still time. We are basically facing what I think is the most important challenge that humanity has faced. How do I keep optimistic in the face of so many challenges? It's hard to tell. It is something I think you are born with, you know.
Please welcome welcome with me our next Dahan finalist, Dr. Gerardo Ceballos.
For over 4 decades, our next Dahan finalist, Dr. Birute Mary Galdikas, has studied and worked closely with the orangutans of Indonesian Borneo in their natural habitat. Dr. Galdikas is the co-founder and president of Orangutan Foundation International, an organization dedicated to protecting wild orangutans. In addition to having contributed to the release of more than 1,000 rehabilitated orangutans back into the wild, and the relocation of an additional 200 wild orangutans, her work has secured the 1 million-acre Tanjung Puting National Park, where orangutans range. Safeguarded also 15,000 acres of forest corridors that link isolated orangutan populations, and, get this, restored habitat by the planting of 500,000 native trees. She is an amazing person, and we are so excited to help you get to know her.
When I was a child, I would lie in our backyard underneath these huge oak trees and wonder, where did we come from? Who are we? And of course, the great apes are our closest living relatives in the animal kingdom, and so I was very much drawn to them, animals who are very closely related to us. When I went to UCLA, I met Louis Leakey and told him what I wanted to do. I wanted to study orangutans. He was a great paleoanthropologist, archaeologist, and he was already a living legend. I knew that he would help me. Borneo was one of the last wild places left on this earth. It was very much isolated from the rest of the world. I couldn't believe it. It was like a dream. I was there to do science. I was there to do research on orangutan life histories. But I also knew that they were in trouble.
Much of what we know about orangutans can be credited to Dr. Birute Mary Galdikas. For over 50 years, Dr. Galdikas has conducted groundbreaking research and conservation efforts focused on critically endangered orangutans in the jungles of Indonesian Borneo. Through her organization, Orangutan Foundation International, she has dedicated herself to saving rainforest habitats, as well as the rehabilitation and release of hundreds of orphaned orangutans. Her early studies on orangutan behavior and ecology forever changed the way we thought of our close, wild relatives.
I was following wild orangutans by myself, day in, day out. So I documented a lot of things that people didn't know about orangutans. I was learning that they are semi-solitary. The males fought each other for access to females. I learned what they eat. I was elated.
In the 1970s, Dr. Galdikas rose to fame as one of the faces of the new animal conservation movement. Along with Jane Goodall and Diane Fossey, she became known as one of Dr. Louis Leakey's tri-mates. Protection of the rainforest meant constant battles against poachers, logging interests, and the planting of palm oil fields. Galdikas was becoming internationally renowned, but the fight on the ground was anything but glamorous.
Dr. G is very soft-spoken, but the life she has led in trying to save these orangutans is anything but soft. She almost died of malaria. She's been kidnapped. She's had death threats, and I don't know of anybody who's gone through quite as much as that.
You get a certain amount of, you might call it celebrity, but the celebrity doesn't protect you against the illegal loggers and the palm oil plantation concessionaires. I was struggling against an industry that was making billions of dollars It did sometimes come to physical violence.
The major impact of palm oil on orangutans is that it basically decimates their home. Because palm oil is grown in massive monocropped areas, the forest is cut down and they no longer have anywhere to live.
Birute has a brilliant and perfect mix of tenacity and also great diplomacy when dealing with elected officials. And she's accomplished so much in terms of orangutans and many other species protected where the orangutans live and thrive.
At the heart of Dr. Galdicas's extraordinary life mission is Camp Leakey, her remote field station deep in the Tanjung Puting National Park. Here, Dr. Galdicas and her team continue the vital conservation work she began over a half-century ago.
Jelas, Dr. Birute itu memang menginspirasi untuk banyak orang. Saya berpikir kalau tidak ada Dr. Birute, mungkin orangutan sudah punah.
Well, I think her work is so important, not just to save the orangutans, but to save all of us. I think she's a hero every bit as much as Diane Fossey and Jane Goodall.
The love between the orangutans and Dr. G is just, I can't find words for it. It's just so special. They know that she is helping them. They know it.
We need orangutans because we need nature. We need orangutans to teach us how we are human. They show us where we've been. They also help us understand where we're going.
Will everyone please help me recognize our next Dehan finalist, Dr. Birute Mary Galdicas.
It is a symbol of determination and of the ongoing challenge of protecting endangered wildlife. The inspiring journey of a hatchling sea turtle from the nest to an ocean home where the circle of life continues to turn. It is also an apt symbol of the work of Dr. Karen Eckert. In the late 1980s, when she and her husband Scott began their work with WIDEcast, the Wider Caribbean Sea Turtle Conservation Network, it was a small organization working in the Caribbean. Today, WIDEcast is a global network specializing in international biodiversity management, conservation, and policy with a focus on sea turtles. As WIDEcast's executive director, Dr. Karen Eckert promotes the recovery and sustainable management of sea turtle populations, including 6 species of endangered sea turtles across the globe. It's now time to find out a little more about her own inspiring journey.
Okay, the turtle is very close. What we're going to do, because the turtle is...
Right now, this is the most important part of the process, right? These are when the eggs are laid. There's a lot of respect and softness that goes along with all of this data collection, which is also really important, and you can see the younger generation doing that brilliantly.
Karen Eckert has devoted her life to protecting one of the ocean's most ancient mariners, the sea turtle. For over 40 years, she has worked as an advocate, educator, and leading expert on these gentle giants. Eckert found her initial inspiration for nature exploring the forests and lakes of her home state of Minnesota with her mother, also a passionate naturalist.
I always wanted to be a biologist. You know, I always loved the way that the world was put together and the challenges that the world faced.
In the early 1980s, worldwide sea turtle populations were in serious decline. Facing threats from poaching, habitat loss, fisheries bycatch, and more, there was little coordinated effort to organize conservation across international boundaries. Eckert and her husband Scott were fresh out of college and looking to make a difference. Eckert took the reins of Widecast, a fledgling group of conservation volunteers working in a few areas of the Caribbean.
There was just this Wild West mentality, and we thought we can do this. And if we can solve this in one country, we can solve it in 45 countries. I just started visiting countries and just having a conversation.
The science of sea turtle biology was in its infancy. Here you had two very young, fired up young biologists, and she literally built the program from the ground up.
One country and territory at a time, Eckert expanded the network. Today, the wider Caribbean Sea Turtle Conservation Network, or Widecast, connects over 2,000 sea turtle experts, volunteers, educators, and government agencies across over 40 nations and territories throughout the wider Caribbean region. Widecast spearheads grassroots conservation and research programs, collaborates with local communities and governments, and provides a conduit of information, allowing each country to develop tailored solutions to mitigate the threats to sea turtles who know no boundary.
They develop policies to develop law, for example, how to deal with light pollution, how to deal with development on the beach. We have to adapt it to our community.
The biggest threat is urban development. The sea turtles need the beaches to reproduce. You know, it's part of their life cycle to lay the eggs there. So we have to manage a way that people can coexist with this sea turtle.
For me, Widecast is a culture. We pass all of this value, all of this culture to the new ones.
The network itself is the magic. The idea that we have stayed together for decades, often with the same people at the helm, I think provides a model for conservation and influence. So do you guys have any questions about them? In Puerto Rico, they're absolutely protected. So she's not... Oh, right.
Karen has always been super dedicated to the idea of making the world a better place. Her ability to actually put into effect change has been remarkable. And that's been her magic.
You ask yourself, what am I actually trying to do? There are only 7 species of sea turtle in the world, and we have rising populations for all of them. Nobody would have thought that that was possible back in the 80s and 90s. And that's the answer. Here we have the perfection of 100 million years of evolution. I think one of the things I'm most proud of is how we have changed the way that the Caribbean looks at its marine resources. It's when these animals come out of the ocean and right to you, doing their important work. You just feel like you should be doing your important work as well. And that every day we do as much as we can to ensure that they see the next day safely.
I am proud to introduce the Indianapolis Prize Gala finalist, Dr. Karen Eckert.
Thank you, Anne. Human beings share 98.4% of our DNA with chimpanzees. They are our closest living relatives. And perhaps no one in the world has done more to protect their future in the wild than Dr. Christoph Bosch. Dr. Bosch is a director emeritus. This is the word. Dr. Bosch is director emeritus. Yes, that's the word. Of the Department of Primatology at the Max Planck Institute of Evolutionary Anthropology, where his leadership has led to groundbreaking publications on the genetic structure, social behavior, and cultural diversity of the great apes, especially chimpanzees. As co-founder and president of the Wild Chimpanzee Foundation, his work has spurred the creation of new national parks in West Africa that protect the world's largest remaining populations of chimpanzees from extinction. In the words of Yale evolutionary biologist Stephen C. Stearns, chimpanzees are a mirror to mankind, a mirror that no one else has done more to polish and hold up for our inspection than Christophe Bosch.
I think I am like every human on this planet. The chimpanzees are our closest living relative. They look sometimes so incredibly similar to us. And, you know, they behave like humans. They use tools. So there is a fascination because when you look at the behavior of the chimpanzees, you somewhere see something about us there. Fresh algae.
Christophe has been a leader in chimpanzee conservation in West Africa for decades. His passion for conservation is well known, and he has been instrumental in creating national parks as a tool for permanent protection of the environment and the chimpanzee populations in these countries.
He inspires you just by his passion about nature, his passion about chimpanzees, his passion about ecosystems. If somebody can love nature this much, then there must be a lot of value in it.
Dr. Christophe Bosch is an explorer and a pioneer. He is also a warrior for one of humankind's closest living relatives, the chimpanzee. In 1973, Bosch studied Rwandan mountain gorillas under the legendary Dr. Dian Fossey. Inspired by the experience, he dedicated himself to understanding the behavior and habitats of chimpanzees.
When you start, I had no idea how to find the chimpanzees. There is no path, there is no way. You can lose your way in a second. They all are extremely scared of humans. So when we spent our first 2 years in the forest, we only saw black shadows running away.
At Tai National Park in the West African country of Ivory Coast, Dr. Bosch created the Pan-African Chimpanzee Program. Over time, Bosch successfully habituated a group of these chimpanzees, leading to a groundbreaking understanding of the rich complexities of chimpanzee culture. It also led to a grim discovery of the perils facing the species.
There were illegal loggings going on everywhere in Africa. The forest is being destroyed, cut. And that, made it very clear to me that you can't be just in your ivory tower as a scientist. You need also to consider what is going on with nature.
Deforestation had reduced chimpanzee populations in Western Africa to critical levels. So, in 2000, Dr. Bosch created the Wild Chimpanzee Foundation, which works to protect chimpanzees and other wildlife by preserving their habitats. To date, it has established protected lands in Ivory Coast, Liberia, and Guinea, engaging policymakers as well as local people at every step.
What species is this one?
C'est quelle espèce ça?
We are working with the farmers. We are also showing them how to do it because it is very important for the farmer to understand why it is important to leave trees on the farm.
This has been a driving thinking in our project to keep this coexistence alive, working with the local communities, because otherwise it will never work.
The Moyen-Bafing region in Guinea is home to the world's largest remaining chimpanzee population. While human activity remains the biggest threat to their survival, Bosch and the Wild Chimpanzee Foundation continue to push the model of expanding national parks in West Africa, creating a sustainable and peaceful coexistence with humans and nature.
The only way to improve things is to continue to fight. I feel actually a debt toward the chimpanzees. There's a lot of hope. The hope is that we have national parks everywhere and that it will be a source of well-being for the whole of humanity.
Join me in welcoming our final Indianapolis Prize Gala finalist, Dr. Christoph Bosch.
Now, please welcome to the stage the United States of America Ambassador to the Argentine Republic, the Honorable Mark Stanley.
Thank you very much. It's a great honor to be with you this evening, to share the stage with so many heroes of worldwide wildlife conservation. And it's my special honor to tell you a bit more about my friend and this native of Argentina, the nation which I'm fortunate to serve you as U.S. Ambassador. Dr. Pablo Borboroglu, we call him Poppy, first time I've ever used his last name, has dedicated his life to studying and protecting penguins and has led conservation efforts across 4 continents. Poppy is the founder and co-chair of the International Union for Conservation of Nature's Penguin Specialist Group, and he's the co-founder and leader of the Global Penguin Society, an international conservation coalition for the world's penguin species. I know you know this, but penguins are among the world's most threatened seabirds. Over half of the 18 species are listed as vulnerable or endangered. But Poppy's work is making a difference. Among his achievements is his role in the creation of the Blue Patagonia UNESCO Biosphere Reserve, home to 40% of the global population of Magellanic penguins. The reserve encompasses 200 miles of coastline, an area roughly the size of Belgium, that not only protects penguins, but 31 species of terrestrial mammals, 36 species of marine mammals, 67 species of seabirds, 65 species of terrestrial birds, 83 species of fish, 130 species of algae, and nearly 200 species of marine invertebrates. Poppy is a true hero of wildlife conservation, un verdadero héroe de conservación de la vida silvestre, and Argentina's gift to penguin conservation efforts around the world, y el regalo de Argentina a los esfuerzos de conservación de pingüinos en todo el mundo. He's my friend Poppy, mi amigo, and he's the winner of the 2023 Indianapolis Prize.
Hola chicos.
I've never seen anyone so in love with his job like Poppy. I would call him the Jacques Cousteau of penguins.
When I hear Poppy, first thing comes to mind to me are penguins. Second thing is a huge smile and a big dose of inspiration and hope.
Poppy's like a penguin in a human body. Yes. He's very enthusiastic and he works hard to achieve his goals.
There you go. Back to your place. Excellent. Thank you for your contribution.
The first memory that I have about a connection with nature was my grandmother. She used to tell me the stories when she visited penguins 100 years ago in Patagonia. But then I came to this area and I was shocked because in those years, the 80s, 40,000 penguins died per year due to oil spills. I used to pick up oil penguins on the beach to rehabilitate them and then release them back into the wild. I decided to pursue an academic career to have more tools to help them better. That's the way I would define myself.
Dr. Pablo Garcia Boboroglu, or Poppy, has dedicated his life to studying penguins as a scientist as well as a compassionate friend of the species, bringing his knowledge to the world in his own unique way. Over half of the 18 penguin species are listed as vulnerable or endangered by the IUCN. Poppy founded the Global Penguin Society in 2008 with the mission of creating science-based conservation and education programs to support all penguin species globally.
GPS was created because we saw the opportunity to work together with a lot of colleagues, like a network, to promote the conservation of all the penguin species on the planet through 3 areas: science, protection of habitat, and education. We work really hard to generate a conservation culture. So you have a holistic approach. We protect the oceans, and we also protect human beings, because the oceans are critical for the survival of all the planet.
Poppy really represents a paradigm shift in how conservation is being done. In terms of an individual working to save a species globally, he can understand deeply the cultural aspects, he can understand the needs of the local people, and then he can communicate those to the politicians and the government in local terms.
That human dimension aspect recognizes that saving animals, it really is about working with the people that affect the landscape and the future of those populations. He just conveys the interconnections between us as people and penguins.
Another vital conservation strategy Global Penguin Society has employed is working with the national government to establish marine protected areas in key penguin migration corridors. Many penguin species migrate thousands of miles each year, covering vast parts of the globe. Anywhere they go, environmental change, overfishing, pollution, and coastal development are their biggest threats. Through cutting-edge innovation, Global Penguin Society has uncovered more about penguin breeding, feeding, and migration routes than we have previously known.
Before these areas were created, these penguins were at risk on land when they came on shore, as well as when they went out into the ocean to forage for food. And the work that Poppy's been able to lead and facilitate really speaks for itself when we see the number of breeding pairs that have increased over the past 20, 30 years.
What he's done is taught the government and scientists here and around the world how to protect these species. He's the person that people listen to.
The global impact of Poppy's work has led to increased protection and management of penguin colonies and their habitat throughout Argentina, Africa, and Australia. It is estimated that Poppy and the Global Penguin Society has helped protect over 2.5 million penguins worldwide, with populations increasing in each area they have touched.
You have the best nest in the colony, I guess. Passion is the energy that makes everything possible. And it's, for me, is the only way to accomplish a goal. Penguins are the mission of my life, I know it. I owe penguins everything. This is amazing. We've never seen so many penguins at the same time coming back from the ocean. This is like a migration of penguins. I've been working with penguins for 34 years and never been able to see this. This is unbelievable. It's like being with my grandmother again. This is one of the most amazing wildlife spectacles that a human can witness. This is why it's so important to educate the next generations, because through the next generations you can have a bigger impact on conservation for our planet. Sometimes life is just amazing.
I got to tell you, what you saw is just a smidgen of what's real out there. We went to Chubut last October with my granddaughter and my kids, and we saw 20 kilometers of coastline of the breeding ground. I invite all of you to come down there and see it. It's amazing. You really have to see this, what he's done. And it's just a small part of it. It's incredible. So I get the great honor to introduce the winner of the 2023 Indianapolis Prize, Poppy, Dr. Pablo Borboglou.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Oh my God, this is so amazing. It is such a pleasure to be with all of you today. But you know what? When I look at all of you from here, I feel so like at home, because I feel I'm in the middle of a penguin colony with so many of you dressed up like penguins. So thank you for that. So I am so deeply honored and grateful to receive the very prestigious Indianapolis Prize. It is hard, really, to put into words how much this means to me, knowing that all the effort to protect our planet have been recognized in such an incredible way. I want to extend my deep gratitude to the Indianapolis Zoological Society, to the jury, and all the amazing organizing team behind these events and the prize. Thank you so much for that. Additionally, I am immensely thankful to all the institutions and the individual donors who have believed in me when I was just a promise and supported me for decades, including National Geographic, Disney, and the Whitley Fund for Nature. And I also want to recognize a local company called Endangered Species Chocolates that supported me as well. And special thanks to the Wildlife Conservation Network, who was the organization that nominated me for this award. This recognition, it's not just about me. It's a tribute to the hundreds of people that have been my pillars of strength and support. I would be nothing without my amazing team, my mentors, my family, supporters, and especially the communities we work with. From my grandmother, as you have seen in the video, who was the person that sparked my love for penguins with her stories when I was a boy, to my parents who nurtured my connection to nature, and my friends who have encouraged me in every step of the way. Today, I also want to give a special thanks to my life partner, my wife, Laurita. She has been the most amazing life partner a penguin like me can have. And of course, I am so grateful to my two fantastic penguin chicks, my sons, who are over there Alejo and Germán. They have literally grown up among penguins. I love you guys and I admire you. I am so grateful for every moment the four of us waddled through life together. Finally, I also want to thank two very special friends that came tonight. One is Adrienne Arsh. She's a very good friend and supporter. Thank you, Adrienne, for coming here, for all your help. And of course, my amigo. Who is my amigo? My very dear friend, Mark Stanley, the amazing ambassador of the United States in Argentina, who traveled all the way from the south, from Argentina, to be here tonight. Thank you. Thank you. Gracias, amigo. I want to share this award with the other absolutely amazing and fantastic finalists and the recipients of the other awards, and with all the brave conservationists that protect our planet every single day. I dedicate this award to the over 1,700 conservationists that have lost their lives because they have been killed in the last decade defending their causes. We must honor their sacrifice and continue their work. Thank you. Penguins are amazing, fantastic animals. I am biased, I have to admit it. But penguins inspire me and give me hope every day. They are brave, determined, and they are tough, but they still need our help to cope with the main threats they are facing, including fisheries, oil pollution and plastic pollution, severe human disturbance in their colonies, and climate change. Our oceans are the lifeblood of our planet, benefiting millions of species of plants and animals. However, they are under threat now as never before in human history. Penguins are excellent indicators of the health of the oceans, and in fact, half of the 18 species of penguins are considered threatened in the red list of IUCN. So it is a clear evidence that the oceans are in trouble. My work with penguins has been both challenging and rewarding. I have witnessed firsthand the damage and the harm that humans can cause sometimes, but I have also seen the extraordinary impact of conservation actions. The world, my friends, is facing a biodiversity crisis like never before, but nature can recover if given the chance. To do so, science, it is extremely necessary, but it is not sufficient to protect our planet. And there is usually enough information to justify a conservation action. But what we most urgently need is more brave individuals unafraid of defending nature and wildlife against all odds. This award motivates me to continue pushing the boundaries of penguin and ocean conservation. The future is not predetermined. It rests in our hands. And as humans, we possess immense power to reverse the negative trajectory of our planet, infusing all our lives with purpose and leaving an invaluable legacy for future generations. My hope for the future is that together we strengthen a global conservation culture and create a world where animals and nature receive the respect they deserve, inspired by the bravery and determination of penguins. And now, please let me say a few words in Spanish. Estoy tremendamente honrado y agradecido de recibir el prestigioso premio Indianapolis Prize, que es considerado el premio Nobel a la conservación. Y también estoy muy orgulloso de ser el primer latinoamericano que lo recibe. Quiero compartir, thank you, for the ones that got that. Quiero compartir este premio con mi país, mi querida Argentina, y llevar un mensaje de optimismo a todos, diciendo que los sueños pueden cumplirse con preparación, trabajo y buenas intenciones. Este premio es para todos ustedes y lo dedico muy especialmente a mis padres, mis queridos Cookie y Aníbal, los quiero. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you so very much for this incredible recognition. Thank you.
been a great evening. We recognize and we celebrate the vision, the passion, and the achievements of people who have dedicated their lives to addressing the most critical conservation issues facing the world today. But it's also important to remember that what we're honoring here is a work in progress, and that this pause to celebrate comes with a challenge to change the world. And maybe you've heard that one person can't change the world. But each person you've met on this stage this evening is proof that that is not true. The truth is, thank you. The truth is, we all change the world every time we take action, every time we make our own commitments to saving wild things and wild places, every time we share with others about the work we're honoring and celebrating tonight. And if one person can change the world, imagine what we can do together. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you in advance for the world-changing things I know you're going to do in the future. Good night.
Hey?